put their money, brick and mortar, and all their money in their balance sheet, they come to you and they'll say, I'm Walgreens, I guarantee your lease for the next 25 years. I'll pay you the rent. You take out a mortgage, or you put the money up, I'll just be your tenant, and I get the corporate. So they didn't put any money up, right? And they guarantee the lease, because they're a great tenant. Walgreens, if you went to the bank, most banks would give you 95 cents on the dollar loan on a Walgreens. That's how strong Walgreens is. We don't buy Walgreens, Walgreens is too expensive for us, for our return. So the question is, why do they rent? Because, number one, they don't want that brick and mortar on their balance sheet. Number two is that you own the property, but who controls the property? Walgreens has a 25-year lease with you with a 25-year option. So for 50 years, if I came to you and said, hey, you've spent $1 million for that property, I'm doing a development, I'll give you $2 million. You can't sell it. Why don't you want to anyways? You see? So Walgreens comes along and Rite Aid, and they say, we're Walgreens, we'll corporately guarantee your income. You'll never have to call us, and we'll take care of your property, but we want to be at this corner. It's mailbox income. So they don't buy the property to confuse all of that mortgage and debt on their books, which helps their credit rating, number one. Number two, then they still have control over the property. You put the money up. From your side, you say, why not? It's an ongoing income for decades. I'm passing it on to my kids. And as I continue to pay the debt down, my equity grows. So if I paid $1 million for the property today, in 10 years from now, it should be worth $1.5 million. My loan went down. In 15 years from now, it'll be worth $1.7 million. I owe almost no money. So not only did I get income, but my wealth kept growing. Right? I'll give you an example. Inside of your packet, there's a Dollar General. This is a Dollar General that we pick up that's available on the marketplace. It's $1 million purchase to keep it simple. In the top right-hand corner, you'll see it says base annual rent income. So that's $84,500. That's what they'll pay you in rent. You'll pay $1 million for the property. Remember I talked to you, it's an 8 cap? So I look up here and it says they want an 8 cap for it. It's one of the commercial mortgages and they brokers, once they send it around for us because we buy property. So I quickly look at it and they want $1,056,250. I'll bid them a $950. Yes.
Yeah, see, you're the only one with that slide.
Oh, well, now I'm sure. I apologize, I thought it was in here, so let's just watch it. I'll talk to you with this. So the base annual rent, they pay you $84,500, right? That means it's $1,056,000 is what they want for it. And they'll tell you the rent commences on 2009 and it expires in 2024. There's 4 years left on it, and it says that essentially, here's the size of the building, it's 9,000 square feet. So we look at it and we like that particular piece of property, so we'll put a bid in on that property. Okay, so that's typical. And then maybe you have the Rite Aid one?
Rite Aid's on there, yes.
So that's $1 million piece of property. And then you look at it and say, well, you know, for $250,000, I know out of $250,000 or $300,000, I'm going to get 14% return on my money, and it's going to grow. I'll get to that chart in a few moments. And you say, well, maybe it's, I'm thinking about $500,000 or $600,000. So here's a Rite Aid you can buy for $2.2 million, 7 years left. It's an 8 cap. And this is things that the offering memorandum comes to us, it's 40 pages long. But again, we're in this business, we know right where to go, see if we're even interested. We look at the demographics, we see where it's at, and we want to see what their credit rating is, we want to see the lease. But again, this is our business, this is what we do. And you'll see why we do it and how we grow our wealth here as this thing goes along. So what I showed you is to give you 2 examples of what a Dollar General is. Remember we talked about Dollar General, they got over 9,800 stores, and here's a typical Rite Aid. And they run about an 8 cap. Okay? Walgreens will drop down to a 6 cap. Very expensive Walgreens because they're rated A+. So that gives you an idea of certain things that we look at and that you look at as well. The next chart, do they have this? Okay, the next chart, if you look at this one, this is a growth in income chart. So bear with me and I'll try to keep the numbers real simple. I bought the Dollar General to top up, and I paid $1 million for it. I wish I had a pointer that had a red thing on it, and he'll say you do, but I don't know how to operate it. Wait a minute. See? There's hope yet. Not
Yeah,
much, but there's
still
hope
learning.
yet.
Still learning.
So, the property cost $1 million. We're using this Dollar General as an example. The mortgage, so I decide I'm going to pay $1 million for this, and I take a $750,000 mortgage out. Okay? So I put $250,000 in cash. So I come down here, my rental income we talked about is $85,000, the chart that you don't have, but it is. And so my annual payments after I make my mortgage payment is $47,000. So I paid $1 million for it, I put $250 in cash down, I got a $750 mortgage, and I paid $47,500 for my mortgage, and I'm left with $37,000. Right? I put up $250,000. I had Joe buy the property for me. I went and got him. He sent everything up. I charge 5%. If you come to us, we buy the property, find the property, do all the financing, it's yours. Pass it on to your kids. So you're going to get $37,000 a year. So when you get $37,000 a year, you're at a 30% tax bracket. You're a 20% tax bracket. You won't pay tax. You get a K1. And I'll explain that to you in a minute. So if you didn't pay tax, but you own the stock that gave you 37, you don't pay tax on that. So this is called the internal rate of return. Your 14, the cash on cash, if you took your $250,000 that you initially invested and divided it over the $37,000, you were making 14.5% cash on cash. 14%. CDs are paying you 1%, T-bills pay you 0.7%, annuities pay you 4 to 5% based on the type of annuity you have. There's 3 types of annuities. Down here, you make 14% on your $250,000. You put $250,000 in an annuity, you make 4. You'll pay a tax on that 4 when you get it. And part of your 4% that, as I understand, comes into the annuities is some of your principal that they subsidize it with. So this is really a 2-part. I got $37,000. I put up $250,000. I got $37,000 a year. And remember, don't call me. I won't call you, tenant, and you're guaranteed it. And away I go. 5 years from now, I'm going to get a rent bump. So I come down here to the bottom part of the sheet, and it says here, for example, the 5 years. Out of the 5 years income, what happened? My $250,000, I collected $187,500 in 5 years. Where, God, did you get that number? Because you just told me I was making $37,000 a year. Yes, you're making $37,000 a year for 5 years. Comes to you, you're paying a tax. It's tax deferred, it's not tax exempt. Tax deferred. You turn around and I say, well, you really got $187,000. And you say, well, how did you come up with that? Well, your note at $750. In 5 years, it's down to $638. Your property went from $1 million, instead of going to a crazy number like $1.5 million, just went up. It went up a modest 10%. Okay, triple net properties don't skyrocket like other properties because they're the proverbial turf. So conservatively, your new property 5 years later is worth $1.1 million. So you owe $640. The equity and the dividends. So here's what you're collecting in rent together. If you took If I sold the property that day, somebody said something about selling the property. If I sold the property, sold it for $1.1 million, and I paid off my mortgage at $640, and I said I collected $187,000 in rent for 5 years, I made $648,000 if I decided to sell the property. My $250 gave me $648,000 in the 5th year. How? Well, I got income, and then I had an equity appreciation. Everybody follow that so far? Yes, sir.
Question, when do I get my money back? Do I get my money back every year, or do I have to wait till you sell the property?
I'm not selling your property. This is your property.
So then I'm going to get part of the deed?
Yeah, you're going to get the whole deed. This is you.
I'm going to get a deed.
So again, I say a lot of things. So through the years we have, when we continue, we don't have a fund now, but through the years we'll do a fund, and you can buy shares into the fund. And you'll get 8% return, and you'll get no equity appreciation. Some people say, I don't want to do that. I gave you $50,000, and then we buy property, and we give our shareholders the 8%, and about the 4th to 5th year, we cash you out, because then we take the property. That's not what this conversation today, we're not talking about. What we're talking about today is that to educate you is that what an IRA does, what an annuity does, and to say if you had that kind of money, or you were to pool your money, you would own the property yourself, and be in your name, not us.
Okay, so then we would have multiple owners of the property. right?
You can, you and your wife could put up 300,000, just you and her own it.
So now when we sell this property in 5 years, we'll have capital gains.
That's correct.
We pay the taxes on the capital gains rate.
I wouldn't.
This would be a self-directed annuity?
No, this is just an investment of buying a piece of property. I benchmark it against, remember I said at the beginning, there's income vehicles. You can buy an annuity, you can buy a CD, you can buy a T-bill. You can buy those things that give you income. You need income, right? We buy Dollar Generals, Rite Aids, and I'm showing you why we buy them. So it's not an annuity, I'm just showing you, if you wanted to buy this yourself, we would show you how to buy it, you would buy it, and you would own it. For example, the Dollar General can be in your name. You'd own it for as long as you wanted to, and this is the returns that you get.
So this is not an annuity?
This is not an annuity, we're not annuity people. This is commercial real estate, credit tenants, right? We're showing you the comparison. If you bought a Dollar General or Rite Aid, and you owned it personally, we're going to show you how your wealth increases over any other vehicle that you've ever looked at. Stocks, bonds, annuity, whatever. Nothing beats this. Nothing beats
So
it.
I'm gonna own this piece of property, and there's gonna be 10 other people.
No, just you.
This is me, okay?
Just you.
me.
But the building's gonna cost more than 300,000 plus the land underneath it.
The building costs what it costs. The $1 million is what it's selling for. That's building, land, and all. $1 million.